So the disciples have been following Jesus around. They've witnessed him healing many with illnesses both small and significant, including a leper and a paralytic. They've seen him cast out demons. They ate with him at the home of sinners. They listened to him teach huge crowds and sat as he taught them personally, often using parables that he explained to them alone. They watched and even then participated as he broke Pharisaic laws, including Sabbath laws. So now they're about to be tested. This story seems simple enough, a boat trip on a lake. But you can thank your clergy for making stories that seem simple to be complex, deep, and challenging. You're welcome. Anyway, Jesus has finished teaching, and he wants to go to the other side of the lake. We don't know why, but his disciples do as he asked, and they get into boats and they head out. Jesus is tired, so he sleeps. But a tempest arises and chaos ensues. Now remember, the disciples, for the most part, were fishermen. This was not an easy job. It was hard work, dirty, and dangerous. These men knew how quickly a storm could start and get really bad really fast. They knew what to do. But nothing was working, and the boat was filling with water. Let me tell you a little bit about the boat. When we went to Israel, we stayed for a while on the shores of the Sea of Galilee, and we visited a museum that had replicas of the boats used in Jesus' time. And let me tell you, well, these boats were sturdy enough. They were not cruise ships. I, for one, would not want to be on such a boat in the middle of a stormy lake. So anyway, these men were scared, and it took a lot to scare them. And there is Jesus, asleep. Now, Mark tells us that they woke him up and said, "Teacher, do you not care that we're perishing?" I don't know about you, but I don't think it went quite like that. I think a lot of different language was used. We can certainly read some anger and despair into their words. After all, Jesus was a carpenter, a landlubber, a man of pretty words. What use was he? Perhaps he could repair the boat if they lived through the storm. But Jesus, calm as a cucumber, he wakes, deals with the storm. Peace, be still. Interestingly, these are the same words that he used when casting out demons. And then he confronts the disciples. He challenges their faith. After all they have seen and heard and done, do they still not understand? Do they still not have faith? And on their part, they respond not with joy at being saved, but with fear and confusion. Who then is this that even the wind and the sea obey him? So let's dissect some more and see where we are in the story. It sure feels like we are living in turbulent times, globally, nationally, personally. Wars continue to rage in Gaza, in Ukraine, and elsewhere. Headlines claim that Putin has sent so many prisoners to the war effort that the prisons are nearly empty. Seriously, how bad must the prisons be if death on the battlefield is better than life inside? A new alliance is forming between Russia and China and North Korea, with Iran participating as she can. What could possibly go wrong? And Gaza. My heart breaks when I see what is happening there. I am reminded of the lyrics of a Buffalo Springfield song from 1967, a few of us might remember. He sang, "Nobody's right if everybody's wrong." What is happening in Gaza can only, whether intended or not, can only be described as genocide. Yet Israel must be able to exist without a terroristic government on her borders. Nationally, our country is in turmoil. Louisiana is posting the 10 Commandments in every public school classroom, including colleges, yet not the Beatitudes. The governor says that he is doing this to honor, quote, the first lawgiver, who is Moses. Well, first of all, a lot of cultures would beg to differ with that. Regardless, Moses was not the lawgiver. Moses received the law and communicated them, but the lawgiver was Yahweh. He could at least get that right. In state after state, women's reproductive rights are being rescinded after the Supreme Court turned the matter over to states. Diversity programs are being stripped and revoked. In Florida, while Miami is literally underwater due to floods, climate measures are being repealed and are removed from legislation in Tallahassee. Our border is in crisis, and Congress has walked away from passing meaningful immigration law. Mass shootings continue unabated, and yet we do nothing. And personally, I'm sure we all have our own stories. Yeah, chaos and turbulence seem to surround us. Have we not questioned, where is God in all of this? Does God seem remote and uncaring? I don't know about you, but I completely understand how the disciples felt in that boat. And so what does our gospel tell us how to respond? Well, first, I want to say, I do not think that the message is to do what Jesus did in this case and sleep through the chaos. But we can learn from him. Remain calm and trust in God. Those are the two things. No matter what, God is with us. Taking time to sit in prayer will remind us of this and provide guidance and solace. Jesus always put his relationship with God first, and he trusted. Our One Parish, One Prisoner team always starts and ends our meetings in prayer, as does the vestry as they tackle the business at hand. And while I'm not a proponent of prayer in school, I think that taking some moments in silence to get grounded in whatever way the children are being taught at home would instill a good practice, particularly before tests, for instance. And know that the disciples did the practical things that needed to be done. We also need to do this. We can become informed on the issues and the candidates running and then vote as our hearts tell us. We can help those in need. We can be a safe place. Jesus didn't rebuke the disciples for what they did, but that they did so without faith and trust. And we can look to hear what St. Paul had to say to us this morning. He lists the hardships they were living under, which mirror our own, I think. And he then lists the tools that they and we have: purity, knowledge, patience, kindness, holiness of spirit, genuine love, truthful speech, and the power of God. When we act with these tools, we are acting in the way of God. We on the One Parish, One Prisoner team are using these tools as we help Sunny with her anxiety, anticipating her pending release in August. While she looks forward to life on the outside, it is scary for her, and there are many unknowns. Our CSLT outreach team can use these tools as we respond to the closure, hopefully temporary, but we don't know, the closure of the Veterans Village, which absolutely breaks our hearts and makes us really angry. We as a church community can use these tools as we confront increased vandalism on our campus, for instance. They are good tools, and I'd like to end by listing them again, and please put these on your hearts. Purity, knowledge, patience, kindness, holiness of spirit, genuine love, truthful speech, and the power of God. Amen.